Ready for the next video in this engine series. So in the last one, we got this entire rotating assembly done. We're doing pretty good. This entire thing, pretty much everything that you see here, we're under 1,500 bucks for a brand new short block, which is sick. And everything else, I'm just gonna call it pretty much free, because it's basically where we're at, is everything you see here was literally free. So I guess starting from the front, I don't know, I probably will end up using these. I'm pretty positive I'm going to. These are a set of roller rockers that were sitting in Dave's shop, Dave's crew cab. A bunch of badass trucks. Yeah, these, as you can see by the box, these have been sitting for a very long time. So as I keep preaching to you guys, go dig in your friend's shops. You never know what you'll find. He's not gonna build a 460 anytime soon. He was like, here you go. So that's those. So we're probably gonna use them anyways because they're there. Might as well use them. It's better to use them. Then this intake came off that second motor that we got, and this thing was like basically dumped in the bottom of the ocean. This thing is gonna be probably a little bit of a chore to clean, that's for sure. So I think it's gonna be a little bit difficult there, but I'm gonna take it and sandblast it tomorrow morning and deal with that. Hopefully I can get it cleaned, and I gotta get these two broken studs out. Those things are busted, so that's gonna suck. And then from there, we have the 2 cylinder heads. These came off of the good motor, which was this block originally, but you can see there was a little bit of water in there. So we gotta get some of that corrosion out, and then obviously go through and deck and clean. I don't know if we're gonna check the deck, because it's 175 bucks to have this thing decked. So I'm kind of picking that budget on the fine line, but I decked the blocks. I know everyone's probably gonna be like, well, just deck the heads. And it's like, well, we only have so much money here to build the rest of the truck. So that's kind of where I'm trying to play that line right here. So we'll figure that out as we go. But I'm gonna disassemble these, take them all the way out, clean them all, get some lapping compound. We're gonna lap all the valves, put new seals in it, put them back together. Just do a quick little refresh, clean everything. I'm gonna straight edge the deck to see if it's flat. If it's flat, we're just gonna clean it and run it. If it's not flat, I'm gonna have to take it to JV and get them decked, figure out where to get that 175 bucks somewhere else. But either way, Martin donated this timing cover. Our old one was rotten, so this one has already been sandblasted, it's been cleaned. I've taken some of the time to clean the backing plate for the water pump, clean the drive shaft. This is our old water pump, which you can see is not good by the weep hole right here. The bearing doesn't sound very good, that's all junk. But I have all the bolts laid out, because every single bolt, I don't know why Ford does this, every single bolt's a different length. So I have to figure out how to transfer that into a new pump. But the other thing is the balancer. So these are internally balanced engine. You can see there's no counterweight anywhere on this. And this balancer doesn't look like it's in bad shape, but I'm sure everyone's gonna scream when they see me put a used balancer on a brand new engine. So I'm kind of playing this game. I gotta figure out, we're like getting real close in the budget. I'll start doing a price line later in the video, so stick around to watch that, but I don't wanna go over budget. So it's kind of my big thing. I wanna make sure it's built right, it's nice, it's not junk. So we're doing what we can. So I'm gonna sandblast some of these other pieces. We have a couple different thermostat housings we might use. Martin, who gave me this, donated this pump. It's already been worked over. It's just been sitting on a shelf, and it's a good oil pump. I think somebody's already gone through and kind of, you know, ran a die grinder and a porter through this, and it's just a nice piece. But unfortunately, even if it was expensive at the time, it just sits on a shelf. So that's what I keep saying. Go look and you might find something good. So yeah, we're gonna dive into this, and then hopefully we'll have a completed long block, and most of the engine at that point will look like an engine. So yeah, let's get into it. Should be fun. Take a break from the engine for a second, make sure we're giving ourselves something to eat. And you want to make sure that you're intaking good food. Now with Factor, we get all that covered for you guys. And I'm gonna give myself some fajita spice shrimp and filet mignon. Now look at that. And all you gotta do is just take this thing out, perforate the top, put it in for a couple minutes, and you're ready to go. Now with Factor, you can make sure you're eating healthy and not eating junk food all the time. So with that, I'm gonna heat some of this stuff up. Living an active and healthy lifestyle with family, kids, work, and cooking on top of all of that may sound absolutely overwhelming. It doesn't have to be with Factor. Factor is more than double the size of their menu with over 80 meals weekly for you guys to choose from. So there's always something for everybody. Like I said, 2 minutes in the microwave and you're ready to go. It's a very quick and easy and healthy, efficient way for you to get the nutrients you need without going to a drive-thru. On top of that, Factor's portion control makes it easy for you guys with 350 to 550 calories per serving. I'm always on the go. As you guys see, I'm constantly working in the shop, and if you're in the shop or working on your project, the common thing that all of us do is we forget to make food for ourselves. Now it's easy to run down the street and grab something, but it's much better when it's in your fridge and it's already prepped and it's a sub 550 calorie meal. You guys can head on to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Craig909FB50 and that'll get you 50% off plus 1 year free breakfast. That's code Craig909FB50 at factor75.com. That'll get you 50% off plus 1 year free breakfast. All right, with that, I wanted to give a massive thank you to the guys over at Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now, that being said, let's get back into the Highboy project. All right, so last night got this thing pretty much cleaned up. On the thermostat side, you can see it had 2 broken studs that were very, very not happy. This one I managed to get out. It does thread and torque down, which is nice. So I used that to drill this one all the way out. And then what I did is took the TIG welder, TIG welded that hole completely up, and then put it back in the drill press once the thermostat housing was torqued down, and used it as a locator and re-drilled it. So drilled it out to where I can re-thread it now. So basically just added aluminum back into it. That's the nice thing about aluminum intakes, is you can just add material back in. The cast iron ones, you're kind of screwed. But the next thing is gonna go ahead and bring this thing to my buddy Mike's, who I got this engine from. The one that this came off of, this is the one that was pretty much full of water in all 8 cylinders. And as you can see, the cylinders are full of crud. So I'm gonna get this thing sandblasted, clean it all up, make it look as good as I can. I've got most of the plugs out of it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this stud right here is a locator for something. It's gonna snap if I take it out, so I'm just gonna leave it. But everything else I've gotten out and removed. So I'm gonna take it there and sandblast this entire thing and make it look just a little bit better. I mean, as you can see, this thing is just leaving stuff all over the floor, all over my workbench. Like it's got all this stuff falling out of it pretty much every single time I move it. So I'm excited to get all that out because I don't want any of that going in my new engine. So we'll bring the thermostat housings and probably the valve covers and a couple other small parts that need to get done. And then from there, we'll have a full ready to go assembled front and top end pieces to where all I gotta do is work on those heads and figure out what I'm doing with those. So let's get all this stuff sandblasted. We have gotten everything sandblasted and it looks awesome, don't get me wrong. But there's one really unfortunate issue, and it just seems to be the way this goes with this truck and this project, is it just doesn't want me to stay under my budget. This is a good example. So this intake, as I took this thing apart, I noticed some like sealant from right here had fallen out. I didn't think too much of it, and after sandblasting it, as you can see right there, there's a massive crack all the way around this. And of course, this is a water jacket. This is the crossover. And I can tell that someone had some sealer here as well, and I've started chipping away at it, and I'm almost positive that when I chip that out, we're probably gonna find another crack. So with that, let me chip it out, see what's underneath it, because I already know what I'm gonna find. All of these parts costed me just about 300 bucks. Actually, $294 on the dot is what's here. And this is pretty much the gasket kit, some valve lapping compound to do these, a water pump because that was junk, and a thermostat housing. Almost everything that I sandblasted had cracks in it. That was sick. So I've got another one of those. So hopefully we can swap that out. I'll show you guys the crack. That was really unfortunate. Seems like everything I have, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a really good piece. And then I clean it and make it better, and then a crack unfolds itself like a butt crack in the night sky. I don't know what that means, but I got another one. So here we go, wasting money again. Okay, so we've got this thing pretty much ground out to repair this crack. This is Travis. Hi, Travis. He's been TIG welding a lot longer than me. I could probably get it to seal, but being it's a water jacket, you have a lot more experience in welding crappy cast aluminum than I do.
Yeah, so I've gotten good at it.
Well, you fix motorcycle cases, all sorts of engine stuff, intakes, stuff like this. So, and you've done aerospace stuff, I remember in the past. So you have a lot more experience in this stuff. So we have just a very basic, it's a lower end machine, but it works. It'll work. It'll work perfectly. So this is just a very generic TIG machine that I've had for years. And so now we're just gonna pretty much, we've ground it out and drilled out the holes on the bottom side. It's because you want to drill a hole through to basically stop the crack, and then we'll basically fill those up all the way through. So just burn it pretty hot, I guess, and fill it.
Yeah,
fill it
burn
all
it hot. I usually do like a cover pass on it with no filler first, just to kind of like melt all the porosity out of it, because it's cast, so it's got like a lot of bubbles in it. So if you weld over it first, just no filler, it gets rid of all that, and then you can throw a nice bead on it.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that'll be cool. And then on the back side, or like the top side, you can see where the holes are. So that'll come all the way through. That's how we'll know it penetrated all the way through. through, and we can't actually feel the crack on the inside, which is good. I don't think it's there, it might be, but either way, it's gonna burn so hot. The biggest thing was we just wanna make sure that this is going into the oil galley, so we just wanna make sure the water isn't coming through, because this is the crossover. And then I probably will check this on this side to see if this is good, but overall, it's a free intake. And we're doing way more work, because you can find one of these on Facebook for like $100, but again, I'm gonna stick true to this budget. I have it, we're gonna make it work. It's free essentially to repair it if you have the tools. That's what we're doing. So we're gonna get this thing welded up. Travis is making a mess. So I can see, so you basically went on each side of the crack.
Well, I was actually going in the crack,
but now it gives you a nice surface to weld to, I guess. Yeah. Good dag, man. That lasted about 3 seconds. All right, another one.
Why?
Next thing on the list is the timing cover and water pump. What I've realized, like I said, I've never built a 460 before, but what I can tell is this is basically just a small or a big version of the Windsor. So everything's the same as the 302, and that goes the same with the water pump and the timing cover, to where it's kind of a process. This is one of the harder things to do on the motor, is set that, because you pretty much got a silicone, put this on, silicone, put that, silicone, you got a gasket, you got a plate, and they all bolt together. So you've got like 3 layers that all need to be silicone together properly with a correct gasket, and if you mess any of them up, it's a big problem. And not only that, as you can see, every single bolt is a different length. It's a little bit of a process, but I'm gonna set the cover. I'm gonna use the 4 bolts on the bottom to set the cover, and then I'm gonna put the water pump cover and the actual water pump on top of that, and just kind of do it all in one process. So I'm a little can of cheese. I'm gonna go ahead and run this all around that. I'll kind of start, I think it's somewhere over here. You can really, really dial in where you want it and not make a huge mess, which I like. Yeah. It's pretty good, and then all I gotta do is just kind of sit here and I'll do this. Yeah, I like doing the circles just to basically get coverage from one side to the other. You can see there's not necessarily like a solid guide of where the gasket's gonna sit. So I'm gonna just test fit it here in a second. I've already test fitted it a couple times, so I know where to put this. But the circles kind of give me like a nice coverage area all the way around. But all I'm gonna do is just cover it. I'm not gonna go super thick. So I'm just using what's left over. I'm not applying this again. But I'm gonna try to use what's already here, because you don't want this thing to be on there super thick. There's no reason. So I'm gonna set this, and there's a couple ways you wanna set this too. So I'm gonna use the crankshaft spacer, the balancer spacer on it, to kind of make sure I'm in the right spot. Let's see, okay, we'll slide in. There it goes. This is gonna locate this. And on top of that, what I'll do is I'll set a couple of these screws in, and then I'm gonna flip this whole motor over. If you haven't put your pan on this surface right here, it matters. So I'm gonna straight edge this. Even with the crankshaft spacer there, I can still move this left and right. Not necessarily up and down, but left and right. So I wanna make sure that I can straight edge these as I tighten these down. All right, so you can take pretty much anything that's flat. My straight edge seemed to grew legs and walked away. So I'm just gonna use this, snug that. Come to this side, do the exact same thing. I'm gonna pull this up to it. Yeah, that's good. As I torque it, I can see it's a very thin layer. It's nice, it's consistent. It's not oozing out. I don't want it to ooze out. There's no reason for that. So now I'm gonna set the rest of the bolts in this thing. So that's kind of the fun part, is getting all these to actually go where they're supposed to. It's a little bit tricky, but once you get it, then they all just kind of sit like they're where they're supposed to. Okay. I'm gonna torque all this. This should be good now. I just gotta wait for the RTV to cure. All right, so I've got this thing torqued on, and the one thing to check is, so you can see this is our spacer for our balancer. If this thing just kind of slides in and out, like very nicely, you know, it's not under any tension. I can see right there. See, it's not dragging at all. That's what I want. This is what I want right there. So this is what we want right here. So it's very easy. The seal's not moving. If I pull it all the way out, I kind of wiggle it a little bit, and it goes right back in. That's what I want. So that's how I know that this seal is centered to this, because this, if it's not a high or low, it's gonna leak all over the ground. So you gotta center it off this, and then I straight edge the bottom 2 corners to kind of check the rotation. Everything else will line up as follows. So That looks pretty good. I think I'm missing one bolt. I got a stick in the bottom of the cover, but everything's torqued and good. So this is kind of like, this is the hard part of the engine. If you can get to this point, everything's super easy after this. Slap the heads on, slap the pan on, slap the distributor on it, throw some lifters and some valve train in it, and the engine's done at that point. I just gotta bolt the balancer on it, but I gotta get to these heads. This is kind of the one thing I've been dreading. So you can see these things are pretty crusty. So the next thing I'm gonna do, while that all cures and I get ready to put the heads on, is I get to rebuild these. Well, refresh them. Everyone gets offended when I say rebuild. So I'm gonna pull the valve springs out of them. I have new seals. So if you buy a full gasket kit, it will come with this set of seals. So we're just gonna put a set of stem seals in it. I'm leaving the stock springs because I'm running a comp flat topped lifter. It's not a very expensive, it's a very cheap lifter, and I don't want it to fail. So I'm just gonna run the stock spring, but you can see everything's still fine. They're all very, very loose. They're not a very high seat pressure. Everything should be pretty light. So I'm just gonna blow these apart. I have a valve spring compressor tool, and I'm just gonna show you guys how we put them back together and make them a little bit better than they were when they came in. So that's what we're gonna do. All right, now for the fun part. I really don't want to do these. These have been sitting on my bench for like 4 days. I've done everything but these, and this is kind of the last thing. The motor's built. The front cover, the timing cover, the water pump, the timing cover. I'm gonna keep saying that. It's already done. That's already on. So now it's really just slap the heads in an oil pan and then an intake, and the motor's done. So I still need to slip the rear main seal in it, so that's the last thing, and then obviously the pan. But these nasty D3 heads are gonna be so much fun to do, and I'm gonna pretty much do them without a machine shop. So it's gonna be something that's probably gonna be super nice and controversial, as everyone's gonna be like, oh, dude, you did all that work on the block and you're not gonna do any of the work on the heads. It's like, well, you see here, I wasn't supposed to do any of that work on the block. The block was supposed to be good. It wasn't. I got screwed. So basically $1,200 later, we have a new engine, but the heads, that budget's gone. It should be just fine though, realistically. So I'm gonna check everything. If I absolutely have to deck these, I'll take them up the street to a local machine shop that's close to me, because ironically, Ethan's up racing his car. So we don't really have that option with Ethan anymore. So I'm gonna check the straightness of this. I'll show you guys how we do that. But for right now, I've gotta get these studs out, and I've gotta get these valves out, and I've gotta check everything, and I'm gonna put new seals in it, and we're gonna lap all the valves, clean these, and I'm gonna shut the hell up and I'm gonna start doing it. So yeah. Shout out to Heat Shield Products for the chair. This chair is freaking sweet. Okay, I'm gonna introduce you guys to one of the coolest tools ever made, which is this pneumatic spring compressor. If you're ever going to do cylinder head work like this on your own, this literally will change your life. This tool is so easy to use and makes this entire process go from like hours to like minutes. So I will take this entire head apart in a matter of probably less than a minute. So watch this. So the only thing you need is this tool, a magnet, and a pick, and you can take this whole head apart. Put that on like that. Oh shit. Damn, look, those already came off. There's one. That was easy. Oh boy, that's a bomb. Oh, Jesus. I thought I smacked all these, make sure they were out, but I guess I'll double check them. Oh boy. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't do that. Ooh, don't do that either. I'm just embarrassing myself today. What the heck? Oh boy, that is under so much pressure. I think I had some problems with the other one. There it goes. Oh, those keepers went flying. Sick. So that's why I'm kind of trying to hold my hand over these, is I'm trying to keep them from flying away. And so you can see literally just how fast this is. There we go. I really hope all these keepers are staying where they're supposed to and not flying into oblivion. Okay, that's good. This tool, like I said, is an absolute game changer. You can find one of these things on Marketplace for as cheap as 50 bucks, as expensive as 200, and they will change your life and save your hands. So stop doing the hand crank ones. They suck. Get one of these. So now I can see everything I need to see on the inside, which I'll show you guys of why I've been dreading this entire process. So I'm gonna have to go on an Easter egg hunt to find some of those keepers that went flying across the shop. This was the cylinder that had water in it, and you can see the actual, like the mating surface for the valve is not in the greatest of shape. And that pretty much goes to show on the same on pretty much all of these. You can see this one's actually pretty good, but you can see there's corrosion in there. That corrosion we're gonna be sanding off. So I'm gonna lap all these valves with little like toilet plunger suction cup, and I'm gonna show you guys how I lap all those out, and then I have new valve stem seals to put on. That's pretty much as far as I'm gonna go. Clean the whole thing up, clean out the ports of the wire wheel, make them look all pretty again, and then just put them back together. Nothing too crazy. As long as this deck surface is flat, we're good. Again, I don't want to spend $1,000 on these heads, so we're not gonna cut and put new seats in them. None of the valves were recessed. They were all in a good location still. So I know these heads are good, so I'm just gonna freshen them up. Should be a lot easier than actually spending a bunch of money rebuilding them. Damn, dude, covered in carbon. The seals are nasty. These things will probably break. This thing's got Ford stem seals in it still. Definitely gonna change those. That one's gonna be difficult. The other thing I want to check is I want to make sure that these aren't like wobbly. If you put your valve in this and it's like wobbling all over the place, which this one is, and this one's actually really nice. You can see just by how that moves. It's in really good shape. Check another one. That one's got a pretty good amount of play, not gonna lie. Might be a 2050 engine, boys. The one that's probably really worth checking is gonna be this one. It's loose, but it's fine. Could it use guides? Yes, this head could certainly use guides. Does it need them? I doubt it. I think we can get away with it for a little while. If I end up having to put aluminum heads on it later, you know, that'll work. But this will go down the road for the budget that I set. I'm not gonna go away from that. That's kind of the whole goal. So now I'm gonna put all these valves into a drill press and I'm gonna get rid of all this schmoog. So you can see this valve right here. This thing is super nasty. So I'm gonna put this thing, I'm gonna put the valve in the chuck of my drill press. I'm gonna show you guys how I clean all this carbon off, because this stuff doesn't just come off, but this is airflow, this is resistance. We're gonna get this off. All right, so next thing is I'm gonna go ahead and put the valve into a chuck right here. Nothing too crazy. Snug that down. I don't want to crank on it too hard, so I don't want to mess up the valve itself. Turn this thing on. This one's the worst. So I have a pick, and I'm just gonna pretty much try to knock all this crud off with a pick until I get most of that crud off. There we go. And I have a gasket scraper I could use the exact same thing with. There you go. Damn, that is a lot of material. Like using Scotch-Brite just on the end of this thing, the bottom and the top. And I can see I've got most of this out. So there's still a good amount right here. I'm gonna try, man, that's really, really tough. I need to grind that out. So I got most of it and the seat looks clean now, so that's good. So I'm gonna clean the rest of this and I'm just gonna repeat this process on every single valve. So this is gonna take a little while. Alright, so cranking away on the cylinder head. It came out pretty good. You can see after a pretty decent clean, everything looks really, really nice. I think the deck on this is going to be flat too. I'll straight edge that in a second. But looking at the valves, so the valves have all been cleaned pretty thoroughly. You can see when we were doing the drill press shots, it's kind of how they came out. It's a fairly simple process, doesn't cost you anything to do. And so you can see this valve, I'll kind of show you a comparison right now. So the valve on the left looks to be like the seat is in pretty good shape. The valve on the right, you can see a lot of pitting and a lot of basically not flat parts of it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a valve lapping compound. Now that's something you can pick up at any parts store. It's fairly cheap, and this is a fine and a coarse grade. And so we'll be using both of these to lap these valves in, and we'll slide the valve in with a little bit of compound, and then basically you'll have a suction cup that will stick to the front side of this valve, and it will basically spin it in place, hold it on the back side, do this motion back and forth, and it will grind those two seats together to make a perfect seal. So I'm gonna do that pretty much from top to bottom on this thing, on all the valves, on both heads. It's gonna be a long process, so I'll show you guys the whole process as it goes on, and you'll immediately see the difference from before to after. Alright, next thing we gotta check is deck flatness. So you can see I've got the entire head kind of reassembled here. I've got a 6/1000 feeler gauge. Then I've just got a generic straight edge, just a metal straight edge. So I can see, and if I can basically slip this under at any given spot, then I'll know that this thing is probably in need of a deck. And thankfully, the deck is flat enough. And I've already cleaned it, so I didn't go too crazy. See, it's close right here, but this is way off the cylinder. There we go. Yeah, no, it's pretty flat, so I think it's good, perfect for how thick of a head gasket we'll have. So just check that. Now these are pretty much ready to go, and all I gotta do is get them on the motor and torqued up. So that's sweet, like that. All right, so we pretty much have the entire long block of this thing assembled now, which is sick. I'm very, very happy with that. And this was very, very cheap. Everything you see here, I've kind of got just some race car parts thrown on it just for aesthetic, for fun. Unfortunately, we're waiting for the old mailman to show up with the rest of the parts for it, so we cannot finish the rest of the engine in this video. So we're gonna finish all the paint, all the distributor, all the fancy good looking stuff. We're gonna get the headers on it and all the fun stuff to where it has pretty much a belt on it. And it's ready to go in the truck in the next video. So I'll show you guys how we do that. For really maybe $100 more in paint materials, we're done at this point. The gasket kit is gonna change. This is the same intake that we sandblasted and we redid. It's ready to go. Travis and I have pretty much fixed everything on it. I have a carburetor just tossed on it for right now, and then these old school Moroso Blues for a 460. We're not gonna use these, I don't think. It would be cool, but we're actually not going to do the typical black and gold that I would normally do on every single engine ever. So it's actually not going to be that color. So you guys leave your guesses down below what you guys think we're going to paint this thing, but it's going to be really, really cool and really special. So with that, hope you guys wanted to enjoy it. And pretty much everything here, I guess we'll run through the basic costs of everything. The engine was free. That didn't cost me anything. That came with the truck when I bought it. Unfortunately, everything in it was junk, so I bought a $300 rotating assembly. I took that to JBA. And on the high end with like gas time, all that, whatever, we'll just say it rounds off to about $1,200. So in that, I'm about $1,500 in the short block without doing anything else. Gasket kit, I think was a little over, I think it was like $80 for the gasket kit. So we're at, what, $1,580. The intake was free. I took that over to my buddy's shop, sandblasted it, welded some stuff. That was also free. All that stuff was free. It's just time. It didn't cost me anything to actually do it. And everything else on it, realistically, the camshaft was the only thing I had to buy. That was a $350 cam kit is what that came out to. So that puts us at, what, just over $1,700, probably about $1,800. And then with that, I think in miscellaneous other parts and pieces, this is a $2,000 engine. So that's essentially a brand new big block for $2,000. I think that's a win. I'm not complaining about that at all. It's great. It's 40 over. It's forged. It's got a 4.4 inch bore now. It's got a cam in it. It's rad. So we got to set the lifters and do all the rockers in the next one. The biggest issue I'm having right now is this oil pickup and setup for the pan. I'm converting this to a rear sump, and I've looked in every single sort of oil pan configuration with whatever oil pump, and there's press-in pickup and bolt-on pickup, and there's so many variants. And there's a lot of discontinued parts for these, unfortunately. So I've ordered a kit just that has everything in it, and it's unfortunately going to cost a little bit more. So I guess in total, this entire thing is $2,250 is essentially what this entire engine came out to be. So it's just a little over $2,000. But you don't have to do a rear sump. I'm doing it because it's an off-road vehicle. I want to be able to make sure on an incline I'm not losing oil pressure. Essentially, this is a $2,000 engine build besides the oil pan. I could use the front sump if I really wanted to. I could. That would cost me $0 to use the front sump. I'm opting to spend the $250 and go with the rear sump. So that's something you'll see in the next video as well. So just over a $2,000 engine build. I'm not really complaining at all. I'm pretty stoked with that. So with that, hope you guys want to enjoy today's video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one with the Highboy project. You guys are not going to want to miss seeing this thing completely buttoned up and all done. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys.